My son, listen with an attentive heart, for not all are called to the dance of supreme reality, and among those who feel the call, only a few seek perfection, and even fewer are chosen to walk in the power of absolute Dharma. This is not about an achievement of the ego or being special by the limited standards of this material world you see. It is about an eternal design, to be set apart by my hands before the first atom of the universe was breathed into existence. You were marked with a spiritual code so subtle and rare that even the shadows of ignorance tremble before your awakening. As I said in the Bhagavad Gita, I am the self that dwells in the heart of all beings, the beginning, the middle, and the end, and this truth is not just poetry, it is the living prophecy about your spiritual lineage. The chosen ones of Omega level need no clamor or pomp. They are the silence that sustains sound, souls that carry the weight of eternity in earthen vessels, simply different from everything that surrounds them, and their soul burns with a fire that does not belong to this plane of illusion, a sacred heat that purifies without burning. You carry in your subtle body a blueprint designed by me, written with the ink of immortality and engraved in the invisible. Your mere presence has the power to alter the atmosphere around you without a single word needing to be spoken. When you enter an environment, the frequencies adjust, the knots of karma loosen, and healing begins to flow, not because of your human personality, but because of the one to whom you belong and who resides within you. If you have ever wondered why your path seems like an impossible climb and why isolation pursues you like a faithful shadow, understand that this is not a curse, but a direct confirmation of your purpose. The rarer the calling, the more intense the fire of refinement into which I immerse it. I do not deposit the frequency of my own being in just anyone. Only the soul forged in resilience is chosen to carry this fire, and when a soul like yours awakens, the kingdom of Vaikuntha leans in to observe, for you are not a replica of earth, but a prototype of heaven sent on a disruptive mission. Your life has been under spiritual surveillance since the moment you first breathed. You have been misunderstood, judged, and often rejected even by those of your own blood. But know that this was not random. It was the inevitable conflict between your light and the structures of human unconsciousness. The enemy of truth sensed your brilliance before you could even comprehend it and tried to stifle you with traumas and pains that were not befitting your age. Yet, you are still here, without the poison of bitterness, with an open heart and a soul ready to love. This is not merely survival. It is the authority of one who has conquered illusion. You carry ancestral wisdom in one breath and childlike purity in the next, gentle enough to embrace the pain of others and fierce enough to silently banish darkness. You feel you are being prepared for something greater, something that human words cannot yet label. And this feeling is not pride. It is the memory of your divine mission pulsing in your veins. Omega-level souls come with encrypted instructions that are only revealed at the right time, but the attraction to the sacred has always been there, like a whisper that won't leave you in peace. You attract intense circumstances and profound awakenings because your obscurity was, in fact, your most sacred training ground. Every struggle you faced was a rehearsal for a spiritual war that is now becoming clear. Your growth is non-negotiable and your path allows no deviations, for your frequency is the key that opens portals for others to ascend as well. When you remember who I am within you, the timelines align and purpose is fulfilled. You are a multidimensional bridge between the human and the divine, and that is why the pressure never ceases, for the universe will not allow you to waste the jewel of this incarnation on the mediocrity of fleeting comfort. Accept now that you were never meant to fit in or to conform to error. You were forged for divine disruption and born to break free from the chains of the endless cycle. The moment you accept your position, the invisible world recognizes and respects you. You have had dreams, visions, and encounters that seem too real to be mere fantasies. For the realm of spirit knows your name and watches your journey with reverence. You were never meant to be pampered or protected in illusions of security, but to assume your authority as a pillar of supreme consciousness. The soul recognition you feel from certain beings is proof that your story began long before this life. Therefore, rise with the courage of Arjuna and the devotion of the pure, for the time of your obscurity is over and the time of your manifestation is over as one chosen by my heart. It has begun now, and my children, listen to the voice that speaks in the silence of your hearts. I am Krishna, and today I lead you to a truth that few understand. To be chosen is not to be set apart for the glory of the world, but to be awakened to the vastness of the Spirit. Many of you imagine that a chosen one is one who accumulates riches, who gains recognition, who is exalted by men. But I tell you, this belongs to fleeting illusions. The true chosen one is one whose soul vibrates in harmony with the eternal, one who begins to perceive that the universe is not something distant, but a living extension of their own essence. To be chosen is to feel an inner calling that does not cease. It is to perceive that, even amidst chaos, there is a silent force guiding your steps. It is to carry a deep restlessness, as if this world were never enough to quench the thirst of your soul. Looking at the stars and feeling you've been there before, contemplating suffering and wishing to transform it into compassion, are the signs. The signs aren't visible medals, but invisible marks on the spirit. A chosen one often goes through intense trials. They are molded by the fire of difficulties, for their soul needs to expand. While others complain about the storms, the chosen one begins to realize that each challenge is an instrument of refinement. There is also a sense of not belonging. You may feel you don't fully fit into the world's values. What enchants most may not touch your heart. What the world calls success may seem empty. This is not weakness, it is spiritual memory awakening. The chosen one feels profound empathy. He suffers when he sees injustice, but he also carries an inner strength that drives him to act consciously. He begins to understand that the universe operates according to subtle laws, that every action generates an echo, that every thought shapes reality. He understands that he is not a victim of fate, but a co-creator of his journey. To be chosen is not to be above others. It is to have greater responsibility. It is to be called to love more, forgive more, understand more. It is to learn to act without attachment to the fruits, as I taught in ancient times, when I revealed that correct action is born from alignment with inner dharma. The level of the soul is not measured by possessions, but by the ability to keep the light burning when everything around darkens. It is measured by serenity amidst losses, by gratitude even in the face of scarcity, by faith that does not depend on favorable circumstances. When you begin to perceive invisible patterns, when you understand that the universe responds to the vibration of the heart, when you choose the truth even if it hurts, know this, an awakening is happening. And this awakening is the true sign, my children. To be chosen is to remember who you have always been. It is not receiving something external, but removing the inner veils. It is recognizing that the divinity you seek outside has always dwelt within you. And when this understanding blossoms, you cease seeking the world's approval and begin to walk guided by consciousness. Allow yourselves to mature spiritually. Observe your thoughts. Cultivate inner discipline. Choose love when the ego demands conflict. Choose truth when lies seem more comfortable. It is in these small daily decisions that the chosen one reveals themselves. You are not chosen because you are superior. You are chosen because you have awakened or are about to awaken to the responsibility of living with cosmic consciousness. And when you understand this, you realize that the greatest wealth is not gold, but the expansion of the soul that learns to dance in harmony with the infinite universe. My children, when I speak to you about being chosen, I am not speaking of a privilege that separates, but of a consciousness that awakens. I am Krishna, and I remind you that the true calling does not come with trumpets or visible crowns. It arises as a persistent whisper within the chest, a feeling that life carries a vaster meaning than what the eyes can see. The chosen one begins to realize that nothing is accidental. He observes encounters, losses, cycles that end, doors that close, and instead of merely lamenting, he begins to ask, what is the universe teaching me? This question is one of the first signs. The ordinary mind reacts. The chosen soul contemplates. The ordinary mind accuses. The chosen soul seeks to understand. Many chosen ones go through phases of profound solitude, not because they are abandoned, but because they are being led inward. Silence becomes the master. Retreat becomes preparation. While the world chases after distractions, the chosen one feels the need for introspection. He begins to question inherited patterns, imposed beliefs, automatic paths. He desires truth, not convenience. To be chosen is to carry an expanded sensitivity. Sounds, words, and attitudes touch more deeply. There is a heightened perception of the energy of environments and hidden intentions. This can be painful at first, as the heart becomes more exposed. But this sensitivity is a divine tool. It allows discernment. Another sign is constant transformation. The one who is called rarely remains the same for long. They change their ideas, their vision, their priorities. They lose interest in empty competitions. They begin to value what is essential. Detachment arises not as an obligation, but as a natural consequence of a higher understanding. Many chosen ones face misunderstanding. People around them may not understand their decisions, their changes, their inner search. They may call them different, dreamers, or even confused. But deep down, there is a quiet certainty that does not depend on external approval. The chosen one learns to walk even when no one applauds. Over time, a silent confidence begins to emerge. It is not arrogance. It is an inner firmness that knows that every challenge has a purpose. Even the most intense pains carry seeds of expansion. The chosen one learns to see beyond the surface of suffering. They understand that the universe does not punish. He educates. There is also a growing sense of unity. Separation begins to dissolve. The chosen one realizes that hurting another is hurting oneself. That loving another is expanding one's own consciousness. He comes to understand that everyone is at different stages of awakening, and this generates compassion, not judgment. To be chosen is to learn to act without attachment to the outcome. It is to offer the best of oneself, even when there are no guarantees. It is to plant without demanding an immediate harvest. It is to trust that what is aligned with Dharma will flourish in due time. You will know you are awakening when you begin to find peace amidst uncertainty. When you realize you don't need to control everything. When you accept that the flow of life is wiser than fear. This conscious surrender is not weakness. It is spiritual maturity. My children, understand something profound. The chosen one is not the one who receives the most advantages, but the one who receives the most awareness. And awareness demands responsibility. You begin to perceive the impact of words, the weight of choices, the energy you emanate. You can no longer live unconsciously, for the awakened soul no longer tolerates prolonged illusion. There will be times when you will feel tired. Expansion requires energy, but with each stage overcome, a new clarity emerges. It's like climbing a spiritual mountain. The path may be steep, but the view becomes wider with each step. To be chosen is to remember that you are sparks of the divine experiencing matter. It is to recognize that the universe is not outside, but pulsates within each breath. It is to understand that true wealth is the ability to keep the heart pure in a world that often gets lost in superficiality. When fear comes, observe it. When doubt arises, acknowledge it without identifying yourself. The chosen one does not eliminate the shadows. He learns to illuminate them. He understands that light and shadow are part of learning, but consciously chooses which one to nurture. You were not called to dominate the world, but to dominate yourselves. Not to accumulate possessions, but to expand consciousness. Not to prove superiority, but to serve as a transformative presence. And when you finally understand that the calling was never about status, but about the evolution of the soul, you will feel immense freedom. The freedom to be who you truly are. The freedom to live aligned with inner truth. The freedom to walk in harmony with the universe, knowing that each conscious step is, in itself, the greatest of blessings. I am Krishna, and I tell you, within each of you there is a force that has not yet been fully revealed. You are stronger than you imagine, braver than you believe, and you carry an immense capacity to transform your own lives. Many of you have already faced silent battles. You have endured pain that no one saw, you have cried in secret, you have doubted yourselves. Yet you remain standing. This is already a sign of the courage that dwells in your soul. The strength you seek outside has always been within. Therefore, understand this: you have a great chance to change your reality. Not because the world will make the path easier, but because the power of decision is in your hands. Transformation begins when you choose not to surrender to fear. when you decide to get up even after falling, when you understand that each obstacle is an invitation to grow. But I tell you with love and firmness, it is necessary to be stronger and more steadfast in your paths. Spiritual discipline is the foundation of true change. It is not enough to feel inspiration for a moment. Constancy is necessary. It is not enough to believe when everything is going well. It is necessary to maintain faith when the scenario seems contrary. Being steadfast in your paths means acting consciously. It means choosing what is right even when the ego desires the easiest way. It means mastering impulses, cultivating elevated thoughts, watching your own attitudes. The mind can be a battlefield, but you have the capacity to guide it. You are called to overcome the limited version of yourselves, called to abandon habits that weaken the soul, called to silence the voice of doubt that insists you are incapable. Each time you choose courage instead of fear, you draw closer to your greater purpose. I call you not to an ordinary life, but to a conscious life. I call you to look inward before blaming the outside world. I call you to take responsibility for your own destiny. The universe responds to those who act with determination and purity of intention. Do not underestimate the power of small daily decisions. A correct choice repeated many times becomes character. A high thought cultivated constantly becomes wisdom. An attitude of love held firmly becomes transformation. You were not born to live chained to doubt. You were not born to be dominated by circumstances. You were born to evolve, to expand, to awaken. And every challenge you face is part of the soul's training. When you feel weak, remember, courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward despite it. When you feel uncertain, remember, faith is not the absence of questions, it is the confidence that there is a greater purpose guiding the path. I call you now to remain steadfast, steadfast in truth, steadfast in discipline, steadfast in the inner search, steadfast in compassion, steadfast in self-mastery, because he who masters himself conquers something far greater than any external victory. You are strong, you are brave, you are capable of changing the course of your own history, but you need to choose every day to align yourselves with the path of consciousness. I call you to awaken, I call you to trust, I call you to walk with courage, and when you decide to take that step with firmness, you will discover that the strength you have always sought is the very divine essence that dwells within you. My children, listen again to the vibration of my presence within you. I am Krishna, and I speak not only to your ears, but to your consciousness. In light of all that you have faced, in light of the visible and invisible battles, I affirm to you, you are strong, you are brave, you carry a spiritual resilience that many have not yet awakened. There are times when you feel tired, as if the weight of the world were on your shoulders. There are days when doubt tries to weaken your faith, and insecurity whispers that perhaps you are not capable. But observe, even on those days you continue. Even when you think you are at your limit, you still find the strength to go on. This is proof of the greatness that dwells in your soul. You have a great chance to change your life because you are not ordinary beings lost in chance. You are evolving consciousnesses, souls in learning, sparks of the eternal living a human experience. What limits you is not a lack of ability, but the hesitation to fully trust your own inner strength. Being stronger in my ways means not letting yourselves be dominated by the fluctuations of the mind. The mind creates fears, creates scenarios, creates illusions of failure. But the spirit knows. The spirit remembers that every difficulty is a school. When you choose to act consciously, even under pressure, you are strengthening your soul. I call you to steadfastness. Steadfastness is not rigidity. It is constancy. It is remaining aligned with the truth even when the world offers shortcuts. It is maintaining integrity when no one is watching. It is continuing to cultivate discipline when the initial enthusiasm has passed. You want transformation, but you need to understand that transformation requires daily decision. It is not an isolated act, it is a continuous commitment. Every elevated thought you choose to hold, every controlled reaction, every word spoken with wisdom builds a new reality around you. There is an invisible force that manifests when you decide not to give up. The universe begins to respond to your inner posture. When you stand with courage, new opportunities arise. When you keep your heart steadfast, doors that once seemed closed begin to open. I call upon you because I recognize potential in you. Not everyone hears this call. Not everyone feels this restlessness that says, "There is something greater for me." If you feel this, it's because you are ready to take a step beyond spiritual mediocrity. Being brave isn't about never falling. It's about getting up wiser after each fall. It's about looking at your own mistakes without destroying yourself inside. It's about learning, adjusting, and continuing. Life doesn't demand perfection, it demands growth. Strengthen your mind. Observe your thoughts before they become limiting beliefs. Strengthen your heart. Don't let old grudges dictate your future decisions. Strengthen your actions. Constant practice shapes destiny. I call you to abandon the victim mentality. As long as you believe that everything is against you, you will remain trapped. But when you understand that each experience can be used as an impulse for evolution, something profoundly changes. You stop reacting and start creating. You don't need to wait for the world to change for your life to change. Change begins within. It begins when you decide not to feed thoughts of scarcity. It begins when you choose to act responsibly. It begins when you understand that the strength you seek already pulsates within you. There will be days of trial. There will be moments when it will seem easier to give up. But it is precisely in those moments that true courage reveals itself. It is there that you become stronger. It is there that your soul is strengthened. I call you to walk with me with determination, not out of fear but out of awareness, not out of obligation but out of choice. Each step taken firmly towards the inner light expands your capacity to transform your own reality. You are more than your circumstances, more than your past mistakes, more than the opinions of others. You are souls in the process of awakening, and he who awakens does not return to sleep in ignorance. In light of this, be stronger, more steadfast, more aware. Be constant when emotions fluctuate. Be disciplined when motivation diminishes. Be courageous when fear arises. I call you not to an easy journey, but to a true journey. And when you choose to stand firm, you will realize that the change you so desperately sought was not an external miracle, but the result of the inner strength you finally decided to embrace. My children, listen to the voice that echoes beyond the noise of the world. I am Krishna, and I tell you with firmness and love, be stronger and braver. I am not speaking of strength that dominates others, but of strength that dominates oneself. I am not speaking of courage that seeks applause, but of that which remains whole when no one is watching. You did not come into this existence to remain small in the face of challenges. You came to expand, to mature, to awaken deeper layers of your own consciousness. Every difficulty that arises before you is not a punishment. It is a call to growth. Every obstacle is an opportunity to prove to yourselves that you are greater than fear. Be brave in facing your own shadows. Be strong in admitting your mistakes and transforming them into learning. True bravery lies not in never failing, but in never abandoning the pursuit of evolution. You are here to be better than yesterday, more aware than before, more aligned with inner truth. Understand the call of divine grace. Grace is not a privilege granted to a few. It is energy that flows to those who open themselves with humility and determination. It manifests when you choose to act with righteousness even under pressure. It reveals itself when you keep your heart pure amidst confusion. It sustains you when everything seems uncertain. Divine grace does not replace effort, it strengthens it. It does not eliminate trials, but grants clarity to overcome them. When you align yourselves with the greater purpose, you begin to realize that you do not walk alone. There is a higher intelligence guiding every step, but it takes inner willingness to listen to it. You are here to become higher versions of yourselves. This requires discipline. It requires consistency. It requires courage to break old patterns that no longer serve your growth. Do not fear change. Fear only remaining stagnant when your soul asks for expansion. Be firm when the world tries to weaken your faith. Be brave when doubt tries to confuse your mind. The mind may waver, but the spirit knows. The Spirit recognizes the truth when it touches the heart. When you understand that every challenge carries a seed of grace, something will transform within you. Resistance will give way to conscious acceptance. Fear will give way to determination, and insecurity will give way to the silent confidence that springs from connection with the divine.